Hello, all Year 7s and I suppose parents. My name is Mr. Holmes, and I'm teaching at Oxford Spice Academy. I'm teaching computing, and this is a quick video to basically explain, for those who are not quite sure what's going on, what the Top Cards project that we're working on this term is all about. And there are a couple of important things I think I want to emphasize before the project gets further along the road, because it's important we get these ideas right, because if you've chosen, for example, the wrong topic or don't have good statistics, then when we come to actually build the database, you're not going to have good data to build the database with, and that's kind of not good. So let's make sure everybody's on point and understands what the project is about. Right, so as you should be aware, you are going to be doing a research project to collect data to create some what used to be called top trump cards. We're just going to call them top cards. And there were quite a few things when we talked about this that all these top cards had in common. Each top card had a name. So in this example, Lamborghini, Sarah, Stories, Girls Aloud, Gatum, Gambala. Each top card also has a picture or an image, and then there are various statistics or properties. So for the car, we got top speed, 0 to 60, which is acceleration, the price of the car, the power of the car. For Sarah's story over here, we have how many Paralympic gold medals she has, total medals, first medal in which year, her year of birth, number of games she's been in, and so on and so forth. And so on for each of these cards. And you'll notice that the statistics for each of these cards has been turned into something which is really a number, and that's very important. Your statistic that you must choose must be something you can turn into a number that when you compare two cards, you can clearly say that, oh, this card has won over that card. It can't be something, for example, like color, because how do we know that, for example, red is better than green? That is basically an opinion. It's not a fact. That's the other thing about the statistics, which we'll reiterate, is your statistics must be founded in fact. Okay, so to summarize your project, you must find information for 10 cards. You can choose any topic you like, as long as, and this is the important thing, your topic must allow you to meet the project criteria. And that means you need to be able to, for each of your 10 cards, each and every single one of them, you must be able to name that card. You must be able to find 3 statistics that are numbers that you can compare, and finally, you need to be able to find an image for your card. That's the minimum. Some of you who've done a bit more work or want to make it a bit more interesting for yourselves, you can have more than 3 statistics. You could also then have maybe a property statistic 4, which you could have as being a fun field. So you're using that just to put information in there that you find interesting, but we won't necessarily be using that statistic to make comparisons as to which card wins or not. So we're only going to use 3 statistics to decide whether or not your cards, any particular card, has won over another. Right, so in a more concrete way, we have, in the example we've been discussing in class, I chose the example of dog breeds. So my name field, or my name property for my dog, for my cards, are going to be the breed of the dog. If you chose cars, then your name field would probably be the model or make of the car. If you're doing some form of athletes, then your name property will be the name of the athlete, as is illustrated here by Sarah Story or Gatum Gamba. And or for instance, if you're doing something like pop groups, then it would be the name of the pop group or the name of the artist, in this case Girls Aloud, for example. Then you have the statistics. Now the reason I have the word average here is because when you go to the website that I referred to, that I used in the example, alright, there are good statistics there, there are numbers, but it talks about the age of the dog being between, say, 12 and 15 years. Now that's not a single number, so what I then had to do is I had to average the two numbers out. I added them together and divided by 2 and rounded up to the nearest whole number, and that's how I got this information over here. I've put them in as whole numbers simply to make life easier, but you could have, because they are talking about averages, if you were doing an average calculation, you could have left these as actual decimal point numbers. That would have been fine as well. So in my case, I chose average height, average weight, and average age. My apologies. Right. Now, if it was on an actual top card, you would probably have a picture, the name of the dog, and the 3 statistics. That's what each card would look like. But we're going to store the data for each card in a single place, and we call that a database. And databases are effectively just tables, and that is where you're going to put the information that you find into a table or a database. Right, so what makes a good topic and a good statistic? Okay, first of all, let's talk about a good topic. Good topic can be anything, but I think you should consider the following. Right, 1, you must be able to connect to it. With it. It should make sense to you. You should be passionate about it, because I think if you are going to enjoy the topic you've chosen, you will find doing the work more fun and more interesting. Secondly, it might be an idea to choose something that will help you learn something about a topic that perhaps you might be not so enthusiastic about, but it might be helpful to you. One person I saw had a topic of the chemical elements, which I thought was a fantastic idea, because it allowed him to learn more about the chemical elements, him or her to learn more about the chemical elements, at the same time as doing this research project. So that is something else you can think about doing. Alright, so I've said that you can choose any topic you like, but you must be able to meet the project criteria, and that means you must be able to find data for 10 cards. You must be able to find 3 statistics for each card. You must be able to name each card, and you must be able to find an image or picture for each card. Right, so that brings us now onto the topic of statistics, which I've already mentioned, but I'm going to go over it again because it's very important. It's very important you get these right. So the first thing, the statistic must be based on facts, not opinion. So we talked about the idea of color. You know, you might have the opinion that purple is definitely a better color than green, and while that is true for you, that is your opinion. If we did a survey, many other people would not feel the same way as you, and those are opinions. Okay, so you can't use data that is just basically based on opinion. You must be able to say this is definitely a fact. What you could do if you were talking about colors of shoes, for example, instead of using the color of shoe, you could, for a particular shoe, look and see how many different colors that shoe came in. So it might come in 6 different colors, and you could put that down as a statistic, because hey, this shoe comes in 6 colors. You might have to justify how you worked out those 6 colors. That's fine, but that is still a fact. It's not an opinion. The shoe definitely comes in these 6 colors. There's no right or wrong about it. It is clearly a fact. The shoe comes in 6 colors. End of discussion. This is what the manufacturer does. They make this shoe in 6 colors. The other thing that you need to bear in mind that is the statistic must meet the project criteria. So that means typically I want the statistic, or the statistic should be a number. Why? Because you need to be able to compare 2 cards and decide whether card A has beat card B. Now, it doesn't mean that the biggest number necessarily is going to be the winner. It just means that any sensible person, if they're looking at those 2 statistics and they're playing the top cards game, they could decide without getting into a major argument or fight that clearly the rules are, yes, this card will win over that card because of, if the number is smaller than that number, then it's the better option, or if this number is bigger than that number in the statistics, then it's a better option. Right. So the final thing that we need to talk about is the URLs or the web links. And this is also a very important part of your project, and it's one that you have to get right. So I'm going to do a very quick illustration to show how to do that. So in regards to the example that I have created, we're using the top cards example. Sorry, dogs as an example. Right, so there's Google. I'm just going to get my window, my Google window, to fit inside the recording space. My browser window rather. So I've used Google Chrome. You can use any browser you like. Alrighty, there we go. And so I'm going to type into Google dog breeds. And when I type in dog breeds, I get a bunch of pictures coming back, which is very nice. And this landed me on the website that I decided to use. And in particular, I might be deciding to choose as one of my dog breeds the Dachshund. It's one of my favorites. It's known as the wiener dog in the States, or the sausage dog. And I can click on Dachshund, and the site for the Dachshund comes up. The hyperlink, or the web address on top here, is the web address. That's the URL. So if I copy, right click, and I go copy, I select that address and I copy it, I can now go back to my document and right click and paste in the URL for my Dachshund. Now, the minute I press the space bar, you can see that has now been turned into a hyperlink. If I hover my mouse over it, it should allow me to okay, I can go right click and I can say open hyperlink, and it should load my browser and take me back to the web page that I was on. So here comes in